The council received an offer of agreed departure from Chief Salvaggio for our consideration.
New developments in Leon Valley, Texas, as on Thursday night, the city council met to consider a separation agreement put forth by Police Chief Joe Salvaggio. The council did not take any action on the agreement tonight, but spent several hours behind closed doors deliberating the issue. This signals that Joe is definitely on his way out at Leon Valley. It's just a matter of time. Earlier on my live stream, I said weeks. I think it's probably going to be more like days. But no doubt Joe is still up to his same tyrannical, retaliatory games. They're really not games. I'd call it criminal activity. It's abuse of office. And it's very, very scary that sort of activity is allowed to occur in the United States. Again, the local government clubs, they protect each other because they have a lot to lose once the people put their foot down to end the waste, to end the abuse, to end the corruption. Please keep following the story out of Leon Valley, as hopefully next week, if not soon after that, major developments regarding Joe Salvaggio. It's been almost 3 years in the making. We're getting close. Thank you all for your support.
To work with. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Darby, the time I got home the other day, I scared him.
Oh, really?
What are you doing here? It's not 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I'm like, oh yeah, it's only 7:40. So, but tonight, this did.
I don't know, this is cold, like, all weekend. It's really cold.
And they get down into the 40s.
We've got a nice fireplace outside.
Here, I bet you're gonna do it.
Oh my goodness.
Just locked it on. Stud. Hey.
I'll make use of a radius of like 1 feet.
What? Everyone's got a camera?
Oh, I know.
I can't believe it. It's joining the crowd.
He's an auditor.
Oh my goodness.
If anybody would like some cookies, my wife bakes some cookies. Feel free to help yourself. Chocolate chip. Pretty straightforward.
Oh, chocolate chip? Hello, kid.
All right. Thank y'all very much for your patience while we've been in executive session on 2 items. We are now reconvening into regular session and take action on issues discussed in executive session if necessary. And it is approximately 9:55. And on 2.1, I'd like to read this statement, please. The council received an offer of agreed departure from Chief Salvaggio for our consideration. We are following up on his request and will consider final action at a later date. On agenda item 2.2, there is no action. And so if there's no objection, we move to adjourn at 9. No, we already had citizens bureau. We moved it up. So we only had one tonight. So if there's no objection, then we move to adjourn at approximately 9:58 on Thursday, February 11th, 2021. Thank you all very much. And we will be back here on Monday. Thank you. Good night. And be safe. with the lender.
After the meeting, I spoke to Councilman Will Bradshaw and Councilman Josh Stevens about the future of Joe Salvaggio's employment in Leon Valley.
Yeah, I mean, you guys heard it. We received an offer of resignation from the chief, and no decision was made tonight.
3 hours.
For 3 hours.
3 hours.
So take from that what you will. And
So the breaking news out of Leon Valley, everyone, is that the council received an offer of resignation from Salvaggio, which they did not accept.
that's not what I said.
Okay, what did you say?
I said no action was taken.
Right, this is what I said, right?
No, you said it was not accepted. So that's different.
It's different?
Or maybe the council's got a hung jury going on.
No.
This is the problem of secret doors.
With
We don't
secret
know.
doors.
The viewers started to like me. That's how long it took.
Yeah, I didn't know it was real.
Wow.
So, but I'm not trying to be unfair on Will. Obviously, there's more to the agreement than I quit.
That
Y'all didn't want
That
to
is
vote.
one assumption.
Y'all didn't want to vote to make it.
is one assumption.
To
The separation negotiations have begun.
Josh, before I turn off the camera, do you want to say anything?
Oh, I mean, I'm sorry for taking so long.
Any government secrets to reveal?
Yes, any government secret?
Well, I mean, y'all know exactly what we were discussing, so.
We have an idea.
I mean, I gotta tell you, it wasn't as, like, I knew it would be long, right? And it was not, you know, there was a little bit of arguing and stuff going
We
on.
thought we
so
heard something.
Yeah, we heard that.
I don't know why they closed the blinds. I was just sitting over by that.
Oh, they closed the blinds.
But
Our Jets voice.
when we went in that room, it was freezing. But yeah, I mean, we're getting, you know, we told people that we're going to make government work for the people of Leon Valley, and obviously we have all these threats now, and part of that is making sure we take care of the bad apples. So we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm confident of it. So.
What did you think about all the citizens' comments that were in support of him?
Well, obviously those were harvested, you know.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, I'm not surprised. Those are all people that I.
CPAC.
They were all probably CPAC members, you know. So, I'm not.
Or the ethics committee.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, I almost thought you watching my video.
So, but yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I expected it
out here.
because when it's interesting though, because they didn't seem to know like that the agenda item tonight was not added by us. We did.
They were confused. I think they watched my video or something, and then they decided to astroturf in or something.
Yeah, I mean, but
The
so
mayor chimed in on that.
we did. I think they're going to continue this agenda item to like next week also. But Will and I added an
What
agenda
about the
item
other
next
one?
week. Will and I, that's still on.
Okay.
Right.
Can you guys do anything about my property or getting my trespass removed?
I mean, I'm sure we could. We're trying to fix a lot of issues at the same time, and obviously we hit barriers at every step of the process. If you do a records request, you will see there's a lot of emails that have been exchanged over the past couple of weeks related to police issues, especially. Actually, I would say to go back even as far as a month or a month and a half.
I was wondering,
the status of my property?
would you feel like that y'all
I'm
are
not sure.
that certain entity or factions within the city are trying to make you a lame duck council, where the council cannot actually accomplish anything?
Do you think that certain factions are trying?
The establishment at the
No.
Salvaggio's establishment.
We did not reach.
He's not talking about Jet.
No. This issue, like reaching a resolution tonight was beyond our control. We couldn't control. I mean, we could have, sort of, but it would have been very unwise to try to stick with coming to a resolution tonight. So we did whatever was I do think we did the best we could do within our control of trying to get to the next step in the process.
Will he be at work tomorrow?
I mean, I don't know. I would assume so. I mean, no action's been taken. You know, our council, we don't have the authority to terminate him. So that's why we've to terminate any employee for that matter, aside from the city manager, and so we have to do what's within our power.
Curious, how is accepting a resignation unwise?
Because it was not just a resignation.
I mean, I know
Well,
you
then
can't
you
go
tell.
into it, but I would
I think everyone wants to know, including myself.
I
at
would
this point.
assume there's very unreasonable conditions based on what he's offering or how he wants to leave out the door.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'd agree with
jeopardize
that.
the position, but
Right.
I'm assuming it's Joe Salvaggio. You know?
Well, that was the agenda item to talk about. Yeah, but this was initiated by him, or it may have been the city manager or attorney or somebody. It was one of them, and yeah, it's not as simple as.
Okay, you accept it.
So I've been fired before from a public job, and they said, "Hey, you're fired." See ya.
Well, this
Yeah, what
is
happened to those
that's the thing. He is an at-will employee. That's why we didn't reach a resolution today.
Because this is kind of seems like it's really quite bold for him to ask for so much stuff as an at-will employee.
Texas is a right to
He can't ask for more
He's
than
not.
what's in his contract.
He doesn't have a contract.
No?
He has an offer of
He's an at-will
employment.
employee, yeah. And so that's, I mean, I firmly believe he's an at-will employee. I recognize that. And I recognize what that usually means in Texas.
That was done purposely, no?
No,
There was an agenda behind that,
No,
no?
he should be able to.
So his friends could have, his establishment counselors could have entered into a contract as city manager and given him a fluffy contract that so many of these government administrators like, but they failed to do that. Instead, they went this interim city manager route payout thing, which the contract was never effective.
Right.
And still he's doubling down on his desire to get a big payout. The records show it. The contract shows it. The letter that I published from his attorney shows his agenda. His agenda is to milk. He is an out-of-towner, and he continues to come into this town to milk the taxpayers for money. And that is Joe Salvaggio. It's his plan. It's been doing this for months now.
He learned well from the former city manager, Kelly Kunstler.
Yeah, it seems to be. I mean, it's a problem. I don't think it's unique to just Leon Valley, though. I think, I think this is a common problem where these. I don't understand why such. Do you expect when like an NBA all-star or a football player, like certain people you expect to have these super lucrative contracts. And mind you, again, he's not under a contract. He's an at-will employee, as is everybody. Hank is on a month-to-month contract. So he's close to at-will, month-to-month, right? But, so almost every single employee that works for Leon Valley is an at-will employee. But the lucrative contracts that seems to be the governmental norm, I don't really understand. And we will make sure that we do our best to limit the lucrative. I mean, there is an element, if you have talent, you're going to do something to keep them, usually. But the lucrative amount to these contracts is just extraordinary. So,
well, and keeping them is fine, but it seems like so many of these contracts are geared towards a great parachute away from the government.
Parachute, right, yeah, you know that. So,
What part of the resignation is under strong negotiation?
there's nothing. I mean, I'm not negotiating anything. That's. We.
Lack
All right, there we go.
decision.
You had 5 hours and 14 minutes to get the not negotiating.
I mean, I'm not personally negotiating, and we aren't really negotiating. We'll see.
Did the police unions give you any issues over this?
No, so everybody kind of thinks. I haven't talked to the police union guys since that night they were here at the meeting. So I think I got a card, but I didn't even follow up with them at all. So I mean, they came to the next meeting, but then I think that's when we were. And I learned from that, to be a little bit more transparent in the agenda packets, because they thought that the agenda item was like something that it just simply was not.
They were wrong.
So, and there was a lot to that agenda item, probably way too much, but nonetheless, live and learn. We'll try to give you, I think our goal is to be as transparent as possible, but at the same time, we don't want to hurt our standing in the city, and especially when we think we might be able to strike something.
Are we talking a week, a month,
there's a guy that was saying
a year?
Hopefully a week.
Hopefully a week.
or less. Hopefully.
Wait, a week or less for what's this,
But
Joe?
at the same time, so realize typically in an at-will employment status, like who holds the leverage? Well, the employee does if they want to leave, right? Because they can leave any day they want. They can just decide to leave, and the employer holds the leverage. So any attempts to create leverage aside from what's like, if the employer wants to end that at-will employment, they have the leverage. If the employee wants to, they have the leverage. But you think beyond it. What if it's mutual?
Just go then, man.
And in this case, we know that at least one side wants out. That's why he gave us a
Do
resignation.
you feel that the coincidental timing of your unjustified arrest was done strategically to leverage in some way whatever was going on? I don't know. I guess.
I have a lot of. I think a lot of it's related to. I think a lot of it is. It's carefully executed. Yeah, I mean, I would use the word extortion. Yeah.
Extortion. It sounds like extortion.
Wow.
There was around 2 hours of public comments at the beginning of the meeting regarding the issue of Joe Salvaggio and his conduct at Leon Valley.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. And I appreciate the no profanity. That's something I really work on because I learned that there are college classes watching my films and ethics classes, business classes, government classes, specifically using Leon Valley as a case study. And then I heard there are high school classes that are watching this stuff. And I was like, I better make sure that I'm using appropriate language at all times, which I can understand how frustrating people can get with what's happening here. With seemingly the government public funds, the resources being used to target people who the administrators don't like, who their friends don't like. I would like to say a little bit about myself. I'm Justin Pulliam, and I graduated with honors from Texas A&M University. I studied animal science, which I guess was appropriate for doing all this government stuff. I've never been arrested. I've never been charged. I've never been indicted or convicted. I've never been pulled over by the police. I've never received a traffic ticket. I've never even received a traffic warning. So many of the remarks that have been said right here that I haven't been able to defend myself from, it's outrageous to me that people are allowed that platform here. It's also outrageous to me where it seems like we're...
Pulliam, you need to direct your comments to the dais.
I was just making sure I would be factual with what I'm about to say. It looks like we were already creating the next setup at the corner of the council room where before a member has been taken out with this little setup, the same players, everything seems to all be in play for another Leon Valley setup. I wanted to talk about, most importantly though, is the Assistant City Manager, Joe Salvaggio. Salvaggio is also set up here and lied about Mr. Olin Yarnell. He said we had to take him out at the meeting because the law requires us to. That's totally false. There's nothing that requires them to go and search everyone who comes into this room to see if they might have warrants. And I wonder, do they search everyone or only people they consider to be part of Change Leon Valley? Even if they do have warrants, nothing requires them to confirm a warrant. That's totally discretionary. They arrested Mr. Yarnell at 2 a.m. because the city or the police department administration wanted to do that. That's what they wanted to do. And then they came and lied about it and covered up the information. Salvaggio got the city to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for an investigation to take out me after the police department couldn't find anything, after supposedly the feds couldn't find anything. And even then, when that report came back that said that it was unfounded that Justin used profanity, Salvaggio stood here and tried to claim that I used profanity in a city council meeting. That never happened. With your permission, I would like to play about 40 seconds of a video that demonstrates Mr. Salvaggio's conduct at a previous city council meeting.
I'm not going to do that right now. Okay.
Okay, then
Your 3 minutes are up.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
But maybe at another time.
Well, it's pertinent to your meeting.
Either that or the comments. Sorry. 3 minutes and it's up. Okay, who else?
Thank you, Eric Motta, Canterfield. This past Tuesday, I found it really ironic you guys started your meeting, went into executive session, but before that, just as we did today, we said the pledge. It ends with liberty and justice for all, which we did today as well. But it was really poignant on Tuesday. I thought about the words liberty and justice. How many times have we seen in this city where if you take a stand against the established administrative forces here, whether that be the city manager, our previous city manager, or police chief, you can almost count on being targeted. Whether you're an elected official or a simple citizen who's outraged that you have people working for you, serving for you, who put their interests before the city. So this past Tuesday, we saw another example of a person who calls himself chief of police, whose career was ended with the San Antonio Police Department for cheating, for his lack of integrity. We took on this liability, and look at the price we're paying. I think, again, it's really interesting that if you align with a certain group who has taken a stand against the establishment, how often and how many examples we've seen how you will be a target. You will be framed, you will be taken down, your pocketbook will be affected, your reputation will be affected, and that kind of leadership leads to citizens who follow those individuals, who think it's okay to come up and attack other citizens, slander them, sling mud as they please, as we've seen on numerous occasions. The truth is, this person who calls himself a police chief is equivalent to a thug, a criminal thug, who has more in common with mafiosos, as far as I'm concerned. I'm outraged that this continues. And I implore staff, I implore our current city manager to serve this community, serve and protect the people of Leon Valley from this criminal. Stop him.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
This is an email I never thought I would have to write. This past Monday, when Councilor Stevens was alerted to having 2 bench warrants out for his arrest, for me was the final straw. I watched as my friends have warrants filed without their knowledge against them, only to have the warrants unsealed and executed by our chief of police and his officers a year or so later. How wrong is this? No wonder why so many of our citizens are expressing fear of going to their council meetings, anticipating some future retaliation. I have had to think hard over my past actions with our chief of police, wondering if I have ever reached out as I was speaking with him and might have touched his arm or shook his hand. Could he have filed a secret bench warrant on me? Had it sealed and waiting to spring on me at some future date? This is ridiculous. I am certainly outraged over this incident as I was with the Tribbles issue when Councilor Martinez and him being thrown to the ground, being roughly handled by Leon Valley PD 1 week post-op. To my respected friend and former Councilor Olin Yarnell, being handcuffed and taken away at 1:30 a.m. during a pandemic, to jail at 79 years of age, on an unsealed warrant from over a year ago. Now we have this present warrant against Councilor Stevens, also from a year, just unsealed. This is abuse of power, in my estimation of what protect and serve should mean. I myself have been a target of abuse when the chief stated at a council meeting that a group of like-minded citizens were accused of violating state codes of conduct in an email thread that he then filed against us, which was summarily dismissed. I love my city and only want the best and always work towards that goal. This insanity must stop. Thank you for reading this for me tonight. Respectfully, Tina Chasen, Forest Oaks, Counterfield.
Karen Seibert, Grass Valley. I made Chief Salvaggio's acquaintance when I was invited to join the Citizens Police Advisory Committee. I was impressed with the chief's sincerity, integrity, ethical standards, and willingness to put his life on the line daily for the citizens of Leon Valley. When he first brought up the idea of red light cameras, I was totally against them. However, after looking at the facts of how many accidents occurred regularly on Bandera Road, how many fire and police officers those accidents took out of our community, and how few of those accidents involved Leon Valley citizens, it became apparent that the citizens of Leon Valley were paying our hard-earned tax dollars to cover the cost of drivers of other cities who broke traffic laws and paid absolutely nothing for the quality service they received from our officers. In the meantime, our neighborhoods were without officers patrolling them. The cameras are not costing the city money. It is my understanding that being on the CPAC committee and all the research that was done, the cameras were installed by and are owned and maintained by the company with whom we have the contract. All monies that are received from red light tickets is portioned. The top tier goes directly to the added cost of officers and equipment to cover red light cameras, the camera program. Thus, the cost of the Leon Valley taxpayer is absolutely nothing. The rest is divided between the company, the city of Leon Valley, and the state of Texas. The company gets paid from the people breaking the traffic laws, not Leon Valley tax dollars. The portion that goes to the state of Texas is used to pay for hospital fees for traffic victims who do not have insurance. The rest goes to the Leon Valley, which can only be used for improvements for traffic and pedestrian safety. The contract, which was specifically designed to benefit Leon Valley, was crafted with the chief, who has been diligent in making the right people pay for breaking the laws in our city. In our CPAC meetings, we addressed multiple concerns of citizens in our neighborhood. The chief researched and reported back to us each month, and no concern was too small to be addressed. He implemented a Citizens Police Academy, helped with the implementation of neighborhood watch groups, and assigned a designated neighborhood officer to every subdivision. Some have said they don't see much police presence in the neighborhoods. However, since the design of the police car has changed, the cars blend in and are not quite so obvious anymore. However, various security cameras throughout the city, including mine and others, pick up patrol officers that are patrolling by in the neighborhoods on a regular basis, much more than before when the chief was here. Red light cameras, impound lot, multiple other programs implemented by the chief are proof that he truly cares about the citizens of Leon Valley. I've never been interested in politics. However, this action is against Chief Salvaggio is a political action, obviously, and has nothing to do with his work for our town that's exemplary. Some of you claim to be Christians. That is between you and God and not me. However, I ask you to think about the day you meet our Creator face to face and how you will explain your actions tonight to Him. I continue to pray for all of you.